Hey everybody, welcome to DEFCON Aftermath. We're taking a look at empathy this go round, and our first contestant in the matchup between defenders and controllers with this support set is Frisson Sensate, a controller that is using Symphony Control, empathy of course, and Ice Mastery. And today we're going to look at his build. We're going to be looking at MIDS Reborn and going through the slotting, the sets, the bonuses, the numbers, the design here around this guy. And so let's go ahead and just dive into that crud and get to business. And I'd be remiss if I didn't remind you all of the origins for Frisson here. He started off actually as a different project that I was calling Zero to Hero, a series I put together over on my channel on YouTube. So you can go ahead and take a look at that if you're curious about the backstory here. But long version short, I was using ChatGPT, who I affectionately refer to as Kathy, as my co-pilot, with the idea of, hey, can the AI create a character from scratch? So I gave her the basic idea for what I wanted here: Symphony Control, empathy, ice mastery, kind of the core idea, and then the concept being that this guy Frisson Sensate is using some sort of vocalization. His psychic abilities are channeling through his songs, his sound, and it gives you those shivers, those chills as you're listening to that just exquisite music. But he amps this up, of course, to a 12. And he's able to use it to empower, his audience or his allies in the case of actually fighting crime or whatever. Or he's able to use it to tap into the fears and emotions of enemies and debilitate them with his controls. And then you got the icy component being the shivers, the chills you're getting as you're hearing this guy. So that series got into that concept, that design, and the basic level up process getting to level 50 with just generic IOs. And then where I ended that series was getting into the mids build, and it was hours and hours of back and forth. So if you are interested in how to do this, you can go check out that series, but just be forewarned, it's not as simple as just, hey, ChatGPT, make me a character. It's not, I don't want to say smart enough. It just doesn't have the knowledge of the powers and the game to accurately give you a 0 to or 1 to 50 build with incarnates. It'll give you something. It just won't be right because it doesn't know the nuances or the specifics. So I had to go through the process in a choose your own adventure style binary choice uh, design, philosophy. So at each level up, I gave her Kathy options of A or B. For the most part, occasionally there would be a C, a D thrown in there as pool powers, that sort of thing were going in. So I had to guide her through the process, of course, and then I had to feed her the specific information from City of Data, copy pasting the actual numbers of the power, so she had that full information. And so the choices were very binary for the most part, but she did a very good job of it, picking powers. And then we had to do kind of the same process with the actual sets, because each power then had options of sets to choose from. So I had to feed the actual sets into her, and like, hey, here is Trap of the Hunter, and these are the bonuses you get. This is the slotting that, or we have this many slots, and these are what the values are. So it was not an easy process, and that's ultimately why I didn't record that for you guys, because that would have been about 2 days of me just kind of going back and forth, constantly having to correct things that she was making mistakes about and saying, no, 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 this is what the power does. This is what the bonuses are, because she would kind of forget. And the chats were getting ginormous. So what I'm going to show you guys is the final result of that, which is the 50 plus build from mids, so that you can see exactly where we went with all the slotting. All right, and here that is, get this out of my way. All right, so we're going to talk through this stuff here for you and show you what we decided to place in various locations. Scoot this down a little. There we go. Now you can see the first level power. All right, so we've got, and again, this is Kathy's choices. I did override a few occasions, like no, we're not doing that, or had to do a lot of hey, are you sure type of things. But 90% of this was her decisions, with a few vetoes by me, or just a few directive statements of I'm not taking the res, for instance. I don't have resurrect. I just, hey, Kathy, I'm not using reses, so don't take it. And then from there, the rest was just her choices in slotting. Some of the decisions we sort of went back, and after we got to the end of it, we had to go back and say, hey, you put this many slots, like in stamina, 4-slotted stamina or something like that. You know, that's not a very effective use because she didn't understand the concept of enhancement diversification and that kind of thing. So I had to explain that to her. But this is where we are. So melodic binding, here's what we've got. And I'll pull out my pop-out window here so you guys can see the numbers a little bit better. So melodic binding, it's right here. We've got 3 Trap of the Hunters in there, boosting some immobilize, boosting some hit points. And then we've got a devastation accuracy damage in there to kind of just round out the numbers on that power. So let me go ahead and move this over a little bit so it's not so blocking everything. So the overall percents, 66 accuracy, damage, blah, blah, blah. And mainly this is slotted more for control. So I do have let me shut off my incarnates because it's making some of these numbers look wonky. Get these out of the way. There we go. All right, so here are the raw numbers. So accuracy, damage. You're only seeing 66 on accuracy, low damage 33. I didn't slot the immobilize more. Again, these were her choices, so you might go, what the hell? But I was letting her have some free reign. I probably would have gone heavier on the damage, just knowing that controllers don't have a ton of damage, just raw damage. But that's what she went with. Well, we do have the damage proc in here, so that does give you an extra little spikeage. But that is overall the numbers on that. The damage isn't too bad, right? Like 69.24 here. So we got some lethal, the psionic, procking. Why is it procking? Oh yeah, because psionic is its core damage, and then it's procking the 23 lethal. Then healing aura, we went with preventative medicine, 4 slotting on that one, some smash lethal resistance, some hit points. We've got some resistance to fire cold. So I'm trying to get, as I'm going along here, just looking for ways to boost some hit points is what she was trying to do. Get some damage resistance. So I was giving her some of my philosophy so that she could choose, hey, you might want to boost up your total hit points. You might want to try to build some damage resistance into your build. And then she went with the 4-slot preventative medicine. So not bad. The numbers, of course, are pretty good overall. We're just about at cap, 90% endurance, healing, recharge. The absorb, it doesn't give absorb, so it doesn't really matter. Then Aria of Stasis, here is your first cone attack that we're going with. And this is the immobilized cone. We took a 5-slot of bombardment in there. Range boosting, more damage resistance, smash lethal, some accuracy, some recharge, the damage proc for fire. So the overall damage output on this, again, is pretty solid, 40.5. And this is going to hit a whole ton of people because the range is 75 feet right now, the way it's slotted with the bombardment. And then the arc is 60 degrees, so this is going to hit a lot of dudes. It's going to do a decent chunk of damage to them, so not too shabby. And the bonuses are nice. Then Project Will, we went to, again, this is where I would have differed because I was like, hey, Hymn of Dissonance, single target hold. She's skipping it because she's like, hey, immobilize, this is control, we're good to go. And I did say I wanted the Project Will, the psychic, flavor that this guy was going for. So she threw in the Force of Will's single target attack here to give us a little more punch, a little more damage. She was weighting this better than the Hymn of Dissonance as far as damage went. And we put Superior Winter's Bite in there for the minus speed and recharge, because that was something else we were shooting for, is relying upon some of the debuffery that was going on in Melodic Binding with its minus speed, and Aria of Stasis has minus speed as those secondary effects. And so if you start looking at those numbers, we're getting some speed and slow on this thing, 37.5. Let me pull out the pop-out window again. So if you start looking at Melodic Binding, slow was going to be 112%, but the slow percent is 37.5. It's hurting your jump height, 37.5. Then you got the Aria of Stasis is doing similar debuffing of movement. So she started to lean into that as an option. So that's why you're seeing the Superior Winter's Bite, the proc here, the chance for minus speed and recharge on this thing. And that has, where's the numbers on this? Totals, effects, enhancement. It's got to be here somewhere. KB, no. Info. Oh, here, let me turn it on. That's why it's not showing. So when it procs, what do we got? A minus 20% debuff on that thing. So that's what you're seeing here. Boom. Lots of extra recharge debufferys possible. What's the proc chance in this? Minus 20%, 5 ppms, so like a 39% chance. So it's going to proc a bunch. And then Project Will also has some knockdown in it, 0.67. The chance for that is only 25%, but it does proc occasionally. And then we also have the force feedback proc in there on top of that to boost the chances for a recharge. That's what you're seeing here. So it has a chance to proc 33% chance to proc 100% recharge bonus. So she went for a little bit of spiky recharge. And I think she's relying upon a lot of like maybe forum kind of posts, because I know force feedback chance recharge is pretty popular out there with, I don't want to say min-maxi types, but a lot of builds have this in knockdown powers because everybody's going for that sweet, sweet recharge. So she was throwing that in there as well. And then the overall slotting's pretty solid with, accuracy, damage, etc. So, I can't say, wow, this is a terrible idea. Interesting. I'm not sure I would have done it that way, or maybe I would have taken Project Will later. I don't know if I would have done the plus recharge and the other proc, Okay. Hymn of Dissonance. Oh, and by the way, you're getting Mez resistance here, some fire cold resistance. You're getting some resistance to debuff of your own speed and recharge, plus some recovery. And then Hymn of Dissonance, force slotting that with the basilisks. This is going to give you some more recharge, because that was, I think, something else we talked about was, hey, we want to get some extra recharge in this build. So she was trying to find it here and there. So you get 7.5% with the force slot. Some more, protection bonuses with defense, some more recovery, because I think this is going to be a high endurance burning build just with the amount of clicking you're doing with all the cones you're firing out there. So not bad. Accuracy is pretty solid. This is where we're finally getting the single target hold. I think I had to convince her that, hey, you might want to get your hold sooner, because I think she was still skipping at this point. And so I was like, you don't really have any lockdown control at this point. You have some immobilize, because, again, in her mind, she sees all controls kind of, I think, equal. And so she's like, oh, well, these immobilizers are pinning the enemies so they can't move. That's great, right? But immobilize not moving and immobilize still attacking you are two different, the same thing is true, but in her head, she wasn't thinking that way. So I had to clarify, hey, listen, immobilize stops them from running away and moving towards you. So it might help you from keeping things at range instead of melee, but it's not going to stop them from attacking you. So you might want to start getting some hard controls sooner. And so I think we ultimately respect this and put Hymn of Dissonance sooner. Dreadful Discord. Oh, and here's the other thing you'll notice is that my single target stuff, I'm not really slotting, or she's not really slotting them heavily for damage, because she started leaning into the damage on the cone attacks, the cone controls instead. So Dreadful Discord got its set of bombardment with another chance for fire damage. So some more range boosting, some more Mez protection, more smash lethal, accuracy, recharge. So she put that again here. You'll notice she put it here in Confounding Chant as well, and ultimately in Frost Breath down here. So we have bombardment 4 times, stacking actually 5 with Wall of Force. So she was really going for the extra range, 20% total range here. What's that, like 10% or 9% total smash lethal resistance, 28% accuracy across the board with those slotting choices. Lots of the extra fire damage proccing. Heal other, she really didn't value helping the team much at all. Like, check out heal other. She put the panacea in there. Heal end and endurance, looking for the recovery bonus, looking to save on endurance as much as possible. So sorry, teammates, she really doesn't value your lives too much, which was amusing as I was watching her go through this stuff. And like, hey, are you sure you don't want to blah blah, And I was like, more focused on control, more focused on damage, which, I can see that, right? Hey, your job isn't necessarily to be a buffer. Your job is to control first and then support second. So that kind of seemed to be the philosophy she was taking here. I don't necessarily fault that. Like, if you can lock it down, control it, and damage and kill it, then you don't need the buffs. You don't need the heals. So interesting philosophy. And we had to peel slots from something to feed all these controls and all this damage. And that's what she chose. We can resolve. This is from your Force of Will. She liked this, and she went with Cloud Senses Force slotting that bad boy. So we ended up getting some, here it is, more damage resistance, some max endurance, some more recharge again. The Panaceas were given recovery, so she's getting worried about the endurance stuff. Maybe I made her too paranoid about it when I said, hey, I try to shoot for like a 3-to-1, or you got a lot of endurance problems, so let's try to fix that. But we also have the damage proc here. She was leaning a lot into procs. Damage proc, negative energy damage. So we're taking a look at the damage numbers on Weaken Resolve. You can get, from a single target debuff, you're actually getting a decent chunk of damage here, 65 out of it. So we are getting damage, even though our single target attacks, as far as the controls go, were kind of a little bit weak. Melodic Binding wasn't really slotted for damage. Hymn of Dissonance was not slotted for damage, but we are slotting some damage procs into some of the single target stuff. Wall of Force, I already mentioned the bombardment set is in here, but we went with 4 slots, so we don't have the extra recharge. Instead, she went with the force feedback chance for a recharge boosting. So this guy can get a lot of recharge just from the recharge slotting, and then we have some of these procs that are in his build. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out in the end. I'm going to turn some of these off just so that they're not messing with the final numbers, and then I'll go ahead and show you those once I get to it. And Feebling Lullaby, the other thing is she kind of like expensive stuff too. Ragnarok in here, the chance for knockdown, which I like this concept, right? Because here we go. We've got a sleep power, which is also doing damage. So you're going to aggro. You're also going to sleep them, but the sleep can be broken. Deep sleep be damned. But she also threw this in here, the chance for knockdown. So that gives you another level of control in this power, which I like that idea. You get some recovery. You're getting some fire cold resistance, more measure resistance, more accuracy. The damage isn't screaming hot. You're getting 11.37. So that's why it's a little bit wasteful to put a damage set in here, I think. I'd probably more proc this out with damage, procking or debuff procking or something like that. But that's what she wanted to do. She's going for the set bonuses, I think, more over anything else. And the overall numbers are nice on it. The accuracy, I don't think, matters in this power. I know the sleep effects are without, you don't need it to hit check. So maybe the damage needs it to hit check. I don't know. But anyway, Confounding Chance next. Another set of Bombardment. This is your Disorient. Notice I didn't take the single target. Well, she didn't take the single target Confuse. It was something, and actually this wasn't even me, like poo-pooing it too much. Like I asked a few times, hey, do you want the single target, Confuse? Because we would skip it and then we'd go on to the next power and then we'd have it still as an option. Because I would always say, hey, you still have the options you've skipped. Are you sure you don't want that? And she's like, well, no, because we've got all this other stuff first, so it doesn't really make any sense to go back and take it. At least as a control power, it was kind of weak sauce. It's the way I look at it, it's more of a damaging attack. So I could see this as one of your single target damaging options instead of, let's say, something like Project Will. But anyway, she kept skipping it. Confounding Chant. We took this. This is your Cone Disorient. The damage on this one I think is pretty nice too. Let's pull this up. So your damage is 141 and some change. We got the fire damage proc again from bombardment in here. It's slotted pretty heavily as an attack. You got lots of recharge on this. I think overall he does pack a lot of recharge in the build, and that's going to help get back a lot of these cones even faster. So we're just going to be able to cone attack, and that's of course where the endurance issue may be a factor. But boom, there's Confounding Chant, 5-slotted bombardment, going sick. Then we finally start getting into some of the buffs because at this point we've got Heal Other and Healing Aura. She skipped, and I think, wisely so, she skipped Absorb Pain. I talked about this in the matchup. I don't see the value of Absorb Pain. Yeah, it's another level or layer of healing, but the trade-off is you damage yourself and you can't restore your own hit points for many a second. You're really hyper vulnerable once you use Absorb Pain. And it's great if you're able to just sit back invisible in the back row and nobody's attacking you, but I don't think that's realistic in a lot of the game right now, especially when these 801 trials are kicking in. And I wasn't planning this guy or any of my builds specifically for the 801, so don't get me wrong and be like, oh, you cherry picked that. No, it just, I said, hey, this is what happens with this power. And so she was skipping it, and I was like, hey, I'm cool with that. I think I did definitely say, hey, we're not taking the Resurrect, so just don't even look at it. So that's this one. And my rationale for Resurrects, Res Powers is that hey, people got wakies, people got the temporary, powers you can get, people got the start vendor reses, people have their own reses and their own power sets. So it's really not very useful to take something like this, even if you only one slot it, you're using it maybe once every what? I don't know how often somebody dying on your team these days. At least in regular content, it might not be any deaths at all. So you have a wasted pick that just sits in your tray. Now, I think in the 801s, it definitely would be used. It will be used in the 801. But again, I didn't change this build for the 801. This was the build for regular content. For these comparisons, we're now upping it to the 801. So are we going to miss not having a res? Maybe. Clear Mind, she also just kept skipping Clear Mind. This blew my mind. I was like, of one thing you would want buff wise for empathy, at least for low level play, is Clear Mind. Why are you not taking Clear Mind? Right? Mez Protection, very important for squishies. The perception bonus, I don't think is that valuable. Although, again, maybe in the 801s it would be useful because a lot of the foes are stealth or invisible. A lot of those EBs are walking around invisible. So this could be a very powerful tool. But she kept skipping it, and I think her rationale was that, well, you don't need it because you're controlling everything. And again, I don't necessarily argue with that logic, but it's probably the first time I've ever had. I don't have a lot of empaths. I haven't built a lot, but it's the first time I've made a supporter who has a Mez protection power and just not taking it. I could see maybe taking it late, like level 49, but she didn't take it at all. It's something that you could throw back into the build because we do take Assault at level 49 kind of as a bonus throwaway. I don't say throwaway power because it definitely does more damage if you take this power, but it's not something that you have to take as a controller, especially if you're not dipping into leadership at all, and that's the only power thing you're taking is Assault, and you're taking it late. If anything, I'd maybe throw maneuvers in there for more protection, but she wanted more damage. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, no Clear Mind. That'll probably be sad. So those of you guys who are watching this video will probably have run the team trials before you see this video, but we'll see. So just beware. I ain't resin ya. You ain't getting Mez protected, and you ain't getting super heal. Oh, and the other single target heal is slotted like Garbo, so you're kind of on your own with this guy. Fortitude. What do we got with Fortitude? We threw in a Gift of Ancients set here. The bonuses, I think, is what she's shooting for. Recovery, more damage resistance, and then a Luck of the Gambler because global recharge. She was going for more global recharge. I think a lot of the global recharge chasing she was doing, again, was her source of information is the internet, right? For this sort of thing. So she's going to like Reddit and forums and whatever posts out there about building and slotting and city heroes, and a lot of that is recharge chasing, right? So that's where I think she's getting a lot of this thing. But Fortitude is slotted like crazy for the defenses. So she's got a bunch of defense on this. We're pretty much at the ED cap. 52.5 is where you'd be capped at this point. So she's throwing out, this 50% damage or defense boosting. So the total numbers that she's going to be able to apply for defenses, she's going to be giving you, whoever she targets with this thing, 17% defense boosting. You're going to get 25 damage boost and 15% to hit buffing. And then when you throw in assault, if I just kind of skip over to that real quick, you're getting another 15%. So whoever's getting fortitude standing around this guy is getting a 30%. You're going to get a 40% damage boost combined with assault and fortitude. And his recharge on this power is looking like 23 seconds, and the duration was, I think, 90 seconds. Yeah, no, sorry, duration's 120 seconds, right? 120-second duration, and then the recharge is 23 seconds. So she's gonna be able to get, or sorry, he, this is Frisson, this is not, I'm thinking she, Kathy. Frisson, is gonna get everybody on these 5-man teams is going to be fortituded, right? Because you're going to throw down at time 0. 20 some seconds later, you're going to have it on the second person. At 40 some seconds, you're going to have it on the third person. And that at 60, 70 seconds, you're going to have it on the fourth person. So he's going to be able to perma fortitude all 4 of his teammates as long as he's, focused on buffing. This is where that conflict between controller controlling that primary job and supporting buffing as your secondary job can be a conflict, because I should be able to have fortitude on every single teammate, which is great, right? Lots of defense you're getting, lots of damage boosting, and lots of to hit buffing. I mean, who doesn't want to have 17% defense to everything from a fortitude power? So that's a bonus for him if he can maintain that pace. That's also where the extra recharge and stuff is kicking in. It's going to be useful for him. All right, then we got Chords of Despair, and actually his recharge should be better because I shut off the procs for the force feedback. So if I turn those back on, it might be even nicer now. Yeah, recharge is 13 seconds. That's freaking disgusting. I don't even have my incarnates. If I forget if I have some recharge down there too. But anyway, so if those 2 procs are firing, you're going to have every 13 seconds fortitudes available. So pets can get it. That's another advantage this guy could have, is I can fortitude my pets. All right, I can fortitude his reverberant pet and his lore pets. So I think he is capable of buffing like a beast if he is not under too much pressure. Chords of Despair. Here is another hold. This is your targeted AoE hold. So this is going to stack up with your Hymn of Dissonance. Hymn of Dissonance. The lockdown is in here, and I've got the lockdown chance for Mag 2 hold in there. So overall, he should be able to throw out, the Mag 3 hold initially, a Mag 2 if the lockdown procs, and then if containment fires, you're going to get, and it's not showing. Let's see if I get that out of the way. I believe it should proc containment, right? I mean, not containment, but what is it? Overpower. I'm not sure why it doesn't show the secondary hold anywhere, but it should be able to fire the other one as well. Anyway, he should be able to hold a boss with Chords of Despair, and then Hymn of Dissonance. Between the 2 of them, he should be able to hold at least an EB. And this is where it's going to be interesting in the 801s, because a lot of the foes you take on are elite bosses, and so a single hit of Chords of Despair, even with the lockdown proc, won't be enough, because you've got the Mag 3 from the initial hold. If Overpower hits, there's, I think, another Mag 1, so Mag 4, and then lockdown 2 more, so that's Mag 6. I think EBs, well, they have either a 6 or an 8. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That thing needs to fire to have any chance for the Mag to, or to hold bosses. I'm not going to, or elite bosses. I'm not going to be able to control the elite bosses really any other way besides immobilize. So that's it. elite bosses are going to be able to get past his stun and his fear and the other stuff. They're going to come for him if he's unprotected, and he's going to get lumped if that's the case. Let's see what else do we got going on here. And the set bonuses, damage, boosting the holds, some more fire cold resistance. You kind of see the theme there. More resistance, more resistance, more resistance. Which is kind of weird because frozen armor over here is more known as a defense set, although it's only smash lethal defense on frozen armor, but it does provide cold fire resistance. So, maybe there's some rhyme or reason to the madness that she was choosing it. Recovery aura, here again, I disagreed with her, but it was her choice. Recovery aura, I think, is underslotted. She's got 2 slots in it, especially given that I'm going to need endurance, and you're getting the endurance bonus for the 2 slotting, but the recharge in this is not that great. Yeah, if everything, fires, it'll be great, but we don't know that it's all going to fire. So that's the problem here, that we just might not get this power recharge enough. It's down to 212, and, if these other things fire, okay, now it's down to 114, so, but, that's a temporary boost of those recharge procs only last, I think, 10 seconds, so 5 seconds. Yeah, so 5 seconds. So this is no guarantee, and I had to be throwing Project Will and Wall of Force to get those procs, which those are probably low on my attack chain. I'm not throwing these out. I'm going to have to remember to throw them out more often if I want to get this sort of a procking, thing going on, because that'd be nice if I can get the 114 seconds, but I don't know. It's going to be tough to do that. Let me shut those procs off again. So right now it's looking at, 212, which is, not bad, right? Not going to complain, but I think you could definitely, just by slotting this power better. Right now it's only got 60% endurance reduction, so I could throw another slot in here. So there's some questionable things where I can maybe move something around, like, maybe Frost Breath is over slotted over here because she wanted to 6 slot this thing like a beast for some reason. So I'm like, hey, maybe we pull one of those over here to Recovery Aura. And, she had her reasons, and I was like, all right, it's up to you. I'm not going to counter, what you're saying, so let's go with it. But yeah, I definitely would have seen that. Throw in, I don't know, the endurance accuracy recharge. Maybe because this power didn't take accuracy, so it didn't make any sense to her. Or just throw a raw recharge in there. I don't know. Something. Reverberant, she's got that slotted pretty heavy too. We got 5 slots in here. Call to Arms, we got that 4 slotted. And recovery hit points recharge on this one. Accuracy damage is pretty high with this guy. Let me see if it'll... Yeah, it's not showing you guys the bonuses here. Let me scoot this up for you so you can see the bonuses. Scoot that up. There we go. Reverberant. Scoot it up some more. There we are. That should show you now. There it is. Recovery hit points. Recharge bonuses again. And then we opted for, and I think this was my call. I was like, let's put some damage proc in here because this thing uses all of your controls, right? So it echoes, it reverberates, it mirrors what you throw out there. So I'm thinking, hey, what control am I going to throw out a bunch that's on a short recharge and has damage and whatever else that this thing's going to mirror a bunch? And I think the big one there is your Aria of Stasis, this cone AoE plus melodic binding. But this is going to be one of your bread and butter attacks, and it's your cone, right? Cone immobilized, and it's on a 3-second recharge. So I'm going to be throwing this out a bunch to get the damage out of it. Reverberance then going to echo it a bunch. So I thought if it's throwing out immobilizes a lot, why not throw this damage proc in here? So I'm hoping, it shows the proc here as, firing an extra 25, and that could proc multiple times because it's a cone attack. So I should be able to get some decent damage out of Reverberant as long as it doesn't die. So I think it might behoove me to buff Reverberant with something like Fortitude, right? Throw some heals on it, because I think he can be a pocket blaster, really, a pocket controller. So I think between the two of us, kind of back row in there or mid row, being able to throw out these controls, lather, rinse, repeat, I should get some good chunky damage out of this dude. I can't wait to see what numbers he puts out. It'll be interesting to see. All right, then regeneration aura. You'll notice she did want to slot the Bejeekers out of this thing. So we've got 4 slotted here. Numina's is in this one. Regen, hit points, heal boosting. And the recharge in this one is 187. So notice the difference, right? 212, 187. So we could have gotten recovery aura closer to what regen aura is. Maybe peel one of these off and put it over in recovery aura so they're better balanced so that they're recharging at the same rate, really. But nope, don't have it that way. And I do want to see if those procs fire. Yeah, so they're recharge is down to 107. So, it's not perma by any stretch, but it is pretty darn close if those force feedback procs fire. So I like this idea. I like that regeneration aura should be up pretty quickly. Like it's pretty much up for 90, down for 90 without any of the procking. This is the one that is more, I'd like to see this better balanced. Up for 90, down for 120, 130. So not too bad, but hopefully we can get it better. Adrenaline boost. This is your tier 9. I don't think it's really worthy of a tier 9 personally. Maybe back in the olden days when, endurance was more of an issue, this would have made more sense to be like this great tier 9 because you get the endurance boost out of it, regeneration, recharge, so it's a good power, but I just don't think it's something that you would see in a tier 9, especially given that it's just single target. If this was AoE, like I'm thinking, if I think empathy needs a redo just because it's so vanilla now, I would like to see, in my opinion, combine the two auras, recovery and regen, as your tier 9. Maybe lower the recharge on it or whatever. So it's a big tier 9 aura that you're just boosting recovery, regen, and maybe something else. And then move adrenaline boost down to like tier 7, tier 8. It might make more sense then that it's a single target, and then lower the recharge in this thing too, because the recharge is 300 seconds. So I could see it being maybe 2 minutes out of the box, 3 minutes at most, at best. 3 minutes. I don't see what's on a 5-minute timer. That's ridiculous. So you can see the pop out window on this one. I've got it down to 120 with the slotting that I've got going on this guy, but that's because I got a bunch of luck of the gamblers all over the freaking place. The recharge overall is pretty high on this build, but otherwise, why is it so slow? Why is the endurance cost so high? Why is it ranked so high in the ladder and the tiers? Why is it single target? It's already overridden by recovery aura and regen aura anyway. So, if I single target somebody with that, maybe combine this with absorb pain. Maybe this is your big heal. So throw some heals. So heal, endurance, regen, something like that would be kind of cool, right? Maybe screw the regen on it. Yeah, here I am rewriting these powers. It's a plus end, plus heal, plus recharge. That would be cool. Get rid of the regen on it. Make it kind of like your absorb pain. Now I can see it being ranked much higher. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Who knows? And by the way, with absorb pain, get rid of the I can't heal myself aspect of that. I don't mind the self-damage idea, but then I can't heal myself? That's stupid. I would get rid of that. Mighty Leap. This is my Force of Will travel power. I took the entire Force of Will, by the way, set with this guy. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I've got everything for Force of Will, all of them. I really like that power set. I've used it multiple times as a power pool. So here it is, Mighty Leap. It gives you access to Takeoff, which is a foot stompy power, which helps you travel faster, but it's also like a nice PBAOE knockdown. It's not the most accurate of things, but, it's useful. Ice Blast, I'm going to get into my ancillary, my epic set. I took Ice Mastery, and as I alluded to in my showdown video, I did not take Hibernate. And again, maybe in hindsight, if I were known I was going to run these 801s, I would take it, but I just don't like these powers like that take you out of the fight, especially as a buffer. I don't need that. So anyway, Ice Blast single target attack. I could swap Ice Blast for Hibernate, but I do want some single target attacking. And Melodic Binding and Hymn of Dissonance are underslotted for damage or not slotted for damage. I then only have Project Will, which has a bit of a slow animation to it. So you've got Ice Blast as kind of your fast firing single target attack. And I do have the damage proc in here, so it's gonna do some decent numbers, right? 61, not terrible. It's double what it was. And it also is going to get some slow effect in there, which is going to go back to something else I'm going for, right? Minus speed with melodic binding. I've got the chance for recharge debuff of minus speed, minus recharge here and project will. I've got Area of Stasis is doing minus speed. And then I've got now my single target Ice Blast doing minus speed. So you can kind of see melodic binding, Ice Blast, and Project Will all can, nuke somebody's speed and recharge. And I hit him with Aria Stasis on top of that. And then Hymn of Dissonance also has some minus recharge as my other single target. So I got 4 single target attacks that have a good chance at minus speed, minus recharge, debuffing, as well as, controlling them. So it's a nice thing to, let's say, throw on that elite boss that has broken through. Because, yeah, you might not be able to hold him and lock him down in place, but you can sure nuke his speed and recharge so he's on a slow crawl to come and get you. So that's what you're seeing there. I think that's a good effective attack. Frozen armor, there's your main, protection, right, aside from your controls. So I have shield wall in there, resistance to teleportation, and the global resistance. So that's going to help my overall protection. And then we're getting some defense out of it as well. Defense, endurance, and recharge. So the defense is boosted up to max. You got Luck of the Gambler thrown in there too. Frost Breath, I already told you about the bombardment set in there, but it's also got the artillery set to really just kind of cap this thing. Accuracy, damage, endurance, recharge. The range is pretty good on it. So overall, the range is up to 56 feet with this thing. The damage you're getting is, 91-ish. The arc is 30, so it's your skinniest of your cones, but I have, notice all the cones I was going for. Right, I've got the cones from your control set. Area of Stasis is a cone. Dreadful Discord's a cone. Enfeebling Lullaby is a cone. Confounding Chant is a cone attack. Then I've got the Wall of Force is a cone attack. The Frost Breath is a cone attack. So that's 6 cone attacks I've got going. Plus Reverberant's going to be throwing out cones as well. So I got like 7 cones that are going to be flying out with my pet thrown in there that can really hammer people. And then I got some decent debuffery going from some of those controls. Plus Weaken Resolve has some debuffery, has minus defense, minus to hit, minus resistance. I've got some damage procs thrown in there. And then we've got Unleash Potential, which is your kind of pseudo god mode from Force of Will. I like this one. So it's a nice click. It's going to give you regen. It's going to give you recovery. It's going to give you plus defense when I click it. So that's a nice boost. And then I threw in some procs here, which I think should work pretty well. I've got the global, Luck of the Gambler recharge. I threw in the Panacea hit points and endurance. So he should be just proccing this even though he doesn't click it. It should fire regardless. And then I've got Karma in there, some knockback protection, which also should be global. So these should work outside of whether Unleash Potential is on or not. So that's the other cool thing about this power is these things are proccing. Then Combat Jumping, I've got that on. There's some more global recharge. And then Assault, which I've already mentioned with Endurance mod in there, just to give him some extra output of damage total. So that's kind of the hope is I'm going to get enough damage that this is all going to make sense. If we take a look at, I think it's, the power graphs here. Let's take a look at this so you guys can see what I'm looking at. If we take a look at the damage numbers here, so Confounding Chant looks like it's going to be a beast of damage that you're throwing out there. These other ones are so-so, but it's really not so much massive damage from one single thing. It's you're going to be layering these things over and over again, and then when Confounding Chant is ready, you just boom, devastating people with it. And that's not even with the procs firing. So if I turn on, the proc damage, let's do that so you can see what those numbers are looking like. Let's see. Dreadful Discord's got it. Boom. Do Weaken Resolve is going to give me some damage proc. Can I show all sets? There we go. Actually, I don't want to show all sets. Primary, secondary. Symphony. Can I do Powers Taken? Let's do that. That'll be better. Oh, look, I even got my cryonic showing up there now. Let's see. Reverberance in there. It's cashing in. Let's see. Who else is going to be confounding? Chance going to give me some more damage. Wall of Force. No, that's not going to help Wall of Force. What else? Frost Breath. Let's turn that on. Is Frost Breath even showing here? Dude, it's not even showing. What the bleep? Where's Frost Breath? Why is Frost Breath not even showing on this thing? Ancillary? Let's do that. Ice Blast. I don't even have Ice Storm. Why are you showing me Ice Storm? Maybe this is Frost Breath. I don't know. Maybe it's confused. Could be. Maybe that's supposed to be Frost Breath. Hey, mids guys. This is not showing up. Anyway, it's got me taking that power, which I don't have. So anyway, Frost Breath's going to do damage on top of everything else. So I'm getting some good damage here from Confounding Chant, and Cryonic are throwing out some good numbers. And everything else, it's not the greatest numbers, right? It's, under 100, but boom, boom, boom. You're just hitting with them over and over again. So it's this attrition, similar to what you saw Shimmer do with my cold domination. All right, so I don't think controllers overall have necessarily huge spiky damage hits. It's at least the way I'm building them. They're gonna have these layers of just stacking damage over and over. You'll see that in the solo test that I'm about to unleash on you. So let's wrap up this build here. Let's look at the totals, and then we'll take a look at what the incarnates are doing for me. So here are my numbers with, let's shut off the stuff that is not proccing just yet. I think, so I have just the damage procs on, it looks like. I think the survival procs are not on. So here's what my numbers are, right? Smash, lethal defense, 23, decent. All the rest of this is just terrible, right? He's not going to survive with his defense. Same thing with the damage resistance, 16, 16, horrific. Smash, lethal. Fire's decent, 36. Cold is, really good, 56. But cold damage is really non-existent in the game. Maybe some of the 801 mobs have it, but I doubt it. I don't recall seeing too much of it. Recovery's 2.9. My end drain's really solid, so this is a great ratio, right? Because I don't have any toggles. That's kind of the good thing, right? I got combat, jumping, assault, frozen armor, but that's really it. Minor toggling with this character. So I've got some really good recovery, but I'm going to need it because he is going to be firing out a lot of attacks. My recharge right now is 76. That's not counting when these procs fire. My procs fire 176, 276. So likely I won't be proccing both, but probably 176 is reasonable. But again, I'm not going to count on it, so I'll keep him shut off at this point. What else do when I hit my recovery aura, boom, my numbers jump up even more, right? Regen. Maybe this is why Kathy didn't seem to think recovery is too critical, because I already had recovery, and I don't think she was really considering or concerned about allies too much. But when regen aura goes off, boom, huge numbers. My unleashed potential, I think, is going to be a pretty good power to make sure that that is firing. What is my recharge on this thing? Because I want to make sure that that thing. All right, so the recharge in this is 340 seconds, so that's not great. The procs will help bring that down a little bit, 217 if that one's firing. So if they both fire, it'll be more, 160. But again, those are only short little bursts of procking, so it's not going to make it that much better. So let's say 300 seconds is when it's recharged. That's 5 minutes. That's a long wait. So you're only going to get that, 3 times a mission or something like that, a normal mission. On these 801s, that'll actually be decent. I mean, I'll probably be clicking it 6, 8, 10 times, depending on how long the mission goes. It goes 30 minutes. But boom, when it fires, it's great. Defenses are going to be solid at that point. Totals are boosting up. The other thing you're going to see with this power when it fires is your recovery's going up, your regen's going up. So you're getting some good boosting out of this thing when it's hot. Right. So, with all of that said, what did I go for with my alpha, with my incarnate stuff? So alpha, I went with, where are you, alpha? Intuition. Because the one thing I do want to get better at is controlling, right? I've got some solid damage going across the board with this, with assault running with my different, just slotting and my procs and stuff. So I think overall damage output's would be pretty good. So I need some more control because I didn't really slot anything for control. So intuition, radial paragon, hold duration, defense debuffing. I do have defense debuff in weaken resolve, so it's not completely wasted. I don't have it anywhere else that I recall. Range, so range of all my attacks. All these cones are going to get even longer. To hit debuffs, again, I don't have it anywhere except for weaken resolve, so that's, I don't want to say wasted, but it's, underutilized. Damage though, so I am going to get more damage when I click this. And slow. Remember, I do have several slow attacks as secondary effects. So intuition, I thought was a great combo or great overall for these different powers. So it's going to help, my hymn of dissonance. So let's go take a look at hymn of dissonance now. If we take a look at the effects there. So I'm going from 38 seconds to 45 seconds with the hymn. That's the other hold. Where is this thing's not showing the correct hold numbers for some reason. I don't know. It should be not a mag 1 hold, right? Hymn of Dissonance. That's your your main attack there, your main hold. Anyway, this is boosting that. Chords of Despair, right? You're gonna get more hold out of that. It's not tons, but it's decent. It's gonna help those two. It's also gonna help your holds from your Reverberant, because these are two controls I'm throwing out, which means Reverberant's gonna throw out those two controls. So it's gonna have more holding ability. Then we're going to get the defense and that's hit debuffs, which is coming from weaken resolve. So you can see the numbers on that. Defense debuff goes from 10 to 13. It's hit debuff goes from, 658 to 68. So helping with that. The slow effects, the other thing I want to take a look at, the minus speed. So you can see the boosting here, 112 up to 149. So we're getting more slows. We're going up to 50% slow, and I'm getting slows in several powers. You're going to see that in RF Stasis as well. You're going to see that in, gosh, where was the other slow? Yeah, Ice Blast gets slows, right? So you can get from there. Frost Breath is benefiting from the slowing too. So it is going to be useful across multiple powers. Who else had slow? There was somebody else had a slow. I forget who it was. Gosh. Dreadful Discord, Fear, Recharge. I don't think it's... Hymn of Distance doesn't do slow. It does minus Recharge. All right, so anyway, that's going to help with those powers there. Then we're getting the damage, of course, across the board. So one damage is fire. Now I can go ahead and look at the advanced totals, not advanced totals, where is it? View, Windows, Power Graphs, there it is. So if we throw this over here, we can, toggle it on and off. So you can see it's boosting damage on several powers. Everybody's going to get a little extra something something out of that. So I think across the board it's a nice, holistic boost. Then we've got another way to get more damage. Of course, I took reactive core, so minus resistance, and then the DOT is going to be firing on that. So all your attacks are going to be throwing out some DOTs. So if we take a look again, hey, what effect does that have on our damage output over here? Reactive is going to give us more damage. So now our numbers are popping up across the board. Plus we're doing resistance debuffing, which can help me kill stuff faster. You guys already know I took the cryonic attack. So there's another cone. More minus speed, more minus recharge, and a chance to hold. So some more control with that. I took the Sears, of course, as my lore pets, so that's going to help me with more survivability, more damage. I'd go on the core side, so I have two attackers supporting in there as well. Clarion, of course, took Clarion because I need some Mez protection, duh. But it also has the plus range and the plus special. So when you click this, right, remember I had range from Intuition. I have range now from Clarion, so let's take a look at what my cone's reaches are. Aria of Stasis, what's your range now? 135-foot cone. Whoa, disgusting, guys. Come on. Project Will's range is what? 180-foot range on Project Will? Hello? This Dreadful Discord 157. You guys can't underestimate the benefits of long range, especially on controls. So picture, I gotta be careful with this guy because he can easily over target. Hey, warning tanks, I'm gonna be possibly over target aggroing, knocking the out of stuff that you didn't want to pull. So be ready for that, guys. I need to be ready for that too. This is why this guy's gonna be super dangerous. And then I've got support radial going on the embodiment side here. Damage, accuracy, defense, more plus specials. So that's gonna help boost, a lot of my healing and stuff. So I guess it's not gonna be too bad of the healing when if you take a look at my heal numbers here. So support is boosting, heal other, right? I can kick that up. Clarion's also boosting the healing, so it's not too bad, guys. With my incarnates running, my heal other is pumping out 524, so it's not awful like you thought it was. And so once I kind of click all of these, potential toggles that I'm throwing out there, make sure everything's fired up now. Let's say I'm just going sick here. Recovery aura is going. Regeneration aura. My procs have fired. I've clicked unleash potential, right? So let's just say everything is fired up and clicking. So I have potential, right? I mean, look at these. Now I'm hitting those, soft caps of defenses and things. Clarion, I mean, you can't underestimate the bonuses that Clarion gives you. I know a lot of you like melee types like, oh, I don't need Clarion. I got mess protection, but you got some range attacks, right? You want to get some of the specials, the defenses that it can boost. You can also boost some of your healing and that sort of thing. So I don't think, just because you're playing melee shielded up dude that you should ignore grabbing Clarion. Yeah, you might not need the status protection per se, but these other things are nice. Same thing with the support stuff. It's nice to have that. So there you go. That is the build that Kathy came up with for your good friend here, Frisson. So boom. Now what we're going to do, we're going to pause the vid here, and we're going to go ahead and run a quick solo, just like one mission, level 50, ×8 type of thing, get some counsel, and just kind of get some reps in and go through the guy's actual in-game use, tactic, strategy. I'll be right back. All right, guys, got the mission set up. It took me a little bit longer to get going than I wanted to because I realized as I was going to fire this up that I had not yet done my slotting. So I went ahead and got this guy kitted out. Cost me a bit of cash. One change from the build I just showed you is I was messing about with the slotting of Unleashed Potential on paper, and some of the procy stuff that I was hoping would work wasn't. Like the heal proc from Panacea didn't work. I then slotted Kismet in there. That didn't work either. Kismet worked when I actually activated Unleashed Potential, but it wasn't just on globally. So I'm not exactly sure which ones are global, which ones aren't, if there's a list somewhere. It seems Luck of the Gambler is going through Unleashed Potential, even though I'm not clicking it. It seems like Karma, Knockback Protection is going through. But a couple of other ones I tested didn't go through, so I just went ahead and swapped in a Luck of the Gambler defense recharge to get the recharge of this power down a little bit. So I'm just around 300 seconds recharging that. And so I pulled the heal and endurance proc out and actually just popped that into health here and removed the Numena's unique. So anyway, that was the big change I did. Everything else is pretty much, I think, what I was planning with the mids build. So there you go. That's the build. Let me go ahead and fire this dude up, though. Make sure my volume's working. 1 second. All right, looks like we're good to go. Let me go ahead and summon pets. So I've got the active task is going to be council plus 0 × 8. Get pet out there. And I can, of course, just because I'm soloing, I can buff the crap out of this dude. Fortitude. Adrenaline boost his ass. RAM. Turn that on. All right, let's go. And I need to remember to put him on aggressive, so he'll start doing shit for me. And I haven't played this guy in a while, so I just want to see if my pet aggroes and what he does. Okay. So it's curious, because like I had him on aggressive, but he didn't do anything. It's kind of as I was anticipating. Seems to be a bit of a delay between what I was doing and what the pet is doing. I have no like poles or anything, so other than just shooting stuff. And I don't think reverberate does much melee. I remember to use my other cones, because I do have that recharge proc in the one, so it makes sense to use it. Get at the trigger. And I actually want to track recharge. I can see how effective that is. Procking. Let me do this. Monitor recharge. There we go. Okay, so I'm at 76.25. That's my default. Go ahead and see if I can get it to proc here. Tag me with some icy crap, slow down my recharge. So far I haven't seen it proc at all. See if he does anything. Come on, Pet, you gonna do something or what? So look, he's just sitting there. So that is going to be interesting. Because if I get caught into just buffing, then it looks like my pet's not going to do much. As it is, he's not doing much. Free my A, man. Okay. Come on, proc. What's the chance of that thing firing? Like 20%? A lot of bogeys in here. Gotta remember I don't have mess protection for my pet other than Clarion. That's the other reason I wasn't too concerned about not having a Clear Mind, because I do have Clarion, so I'm mostly going to be playing at higher level stuff, so. Speak of. Those guys see me up there. I wonder if my stuff scattered that far. seen my freaking recharge things proc yet. I wonder if because the chance for knockback is low that... But look at the freaking cone, just went way back there. Did you see that? Wow. Dude, it's dangerous. Anyway, I was saying that I haven't seen the recharge proc fire yet. And I wonder if it's because that powers, I have it in... They only have lower chances to proc recharge in the first place. So it might require my thing to fire knockback and then it then has a chance to... This guy, look at the guy way in the back there. See that? And then it has a chance to then proc. Because if it doesn't fire, then I'm gonna ditch it. Ditch it. I'll go ahead and grab my other pets here. Sears. Put them all on aggressive. Why the frick not, right? This frickin' galaxy's over here. How frickin' far these cones fire. There we go. Now I got it to proc. Turn off some of my stuff here. What are you doing over there, girl? That's crazy, these cones. Crazy cones, man. Suppose I can shut off my jump. I don't need that unless I'm gonna stomp someone. I'm really not gonna be in melee enough to justify needing it on. Oh, you asshole. They did change it so that these guys are slower to res, but I don't think they necessarily res less. It just makes it a little bit easier to get out of their way. Get framed all over the place. I'm really not pleased with the lack of proccing from the recharge. I've seen it once. The only thing I can think is that because the powers I have it slotted in are not guaranteed knockback, that just might not be worth it. Could be, right? So let's see if I can get a bunch of these guys here with this. Oh. That hurt. I like the knockback in the Ragnarok there with my sleep. I need you guys to take some freaking aggro for me. These pets need to be even more aggressive than they are. Deep sleeper there. I'm wondering if the more I attack, the more aggressive my reverberant gets. Start layering this crap in here. impressed with the length of these cones, guys. Frighteningly so. I'm gonna stand back here and hit him. Sleep him. Look at this. Abuse. This is cone abuse. I hit the guys in the back too. Oh my god, that's too much. Oh, Jesus. Come on. Uh-oh. Dude, these guys pack a bunch of damage. Get him. Hit him. Come on, pet. There, I got a proc there. Yeah, looks like you have to do the knockback first. This guy's gonna be in trouble, I'm telling you. He is so soft. I'm gonna get one-shotted for sure. You guys are gonna have to protect me a lot. Dude, look how dangerous these cones are, though. Not in a good way. In an LOL way, I'll tell you that, though. Seeing a little bit more proccing, but I'm almost having to force it. Open with this first. Go, proc his ass there. What if? Oh my lord, he just freaking stunned me. Just missed that guy. Come on, get in the reverberant. Do some damage, pal. Wow. That's too much. Look at this. I can sit here from way back here and just unload. Hit that guy way in the back. Oh shit. Okay, you little devil, you. Debuff his ass. I just gotta figure out what this guy can do because it's scary. Damn it. I got a freaking KB protection, don't I? Or maybe I had to unslot that one because I was gonna put it in my frost armor, but then I ended up going with the defense. I don't think that has the resistance. Hit him. Hit him some more. Lol. Who's that? Who is that? Like Wednesday just posted her in the Best Worst channel that she spotted a golden-haired crooner in PI. I wonder who that was. Wednesday, you silly girl, you. All right, let's do this. I don't know what the hell to open with half the time. Look at all these effers. You know what's gonna happen, right? I knew it. Look at that. Unload. This is disgusting. Oh god, so she's saying it's some Michael Bolton tribute, I guess. Sounds like a badass. Yeah, there's like really no, to me anyway, there's like no coordinating of like controls. You just like unload everything. Just spam it. Control spamming 101. Hit the sky. Oh, don't fire that far back. Holy crap, that'd be crazy. Dude, I just hit that guy way the frick back there. That is insane. I may have just created my most deadly character yet. Not in a good way either. Deadly for me. I mean, when your cones are like snipes. Alright, we're just crushing people. Not much they can do. I mean, yeah, I'm taking a few hits, but I'm getting kind of used to the range. I just know I just got to open up from way back here. This may very well be my most dangerous controller. And not necessarily in a good way. All right, let's do this, man. Come on. Juice you up. Wow, look at all these guys. So many freaking targets. All right, I'm gonna try... Let's freaking stun their ass first. Stun them? Come on. Archon Rossi, eat it. Frickin' sleep. I think I aggroed shit way back there. Looks like it. Stand strong, guys. Stand strong. No mercy. Dude, we're going off. Hold on. We're beating the hell out of Reverberant here. Alright, get my Sears out. Alright, get these guys to fuck off of me. That's the one problem with cones, is that when they're right on top of you, it's a pain to do anything about it. Go aggressive, guys. Everybody. Stop messing around. Dude, man. Shut your mouth. These guys need to shut their mouths over here. You hush. You hush. Alright, these guys are talking trash about empathy in the Bow Wow channel. I'm not having it. These council would be beg to differ. They're like saying, yeah, empathy's hard to solo with. I don't know, man. Look at this. Ready? Watch. Unload everything. Dude, where did they see this freaking video? It's not even funny. Don't aggro the other guys, please. Dude, what are you doing? Get out of there. Let's get in there. Fear? Fear. Stun. Sleep. Immobilize. Frost. Force. Oh, Diviner likes to get the frick in there, huh? There's more. Let's do it again. Ready? Hold. Fear. So I like the delay. I can like stack. Dude, this is sick. The swath of destruction I can unload on those huge groups. It's crazy. There's a purple. These council would beg to differ. Wait till you see the swath of horror I'm unleashing on hordes of them. I mean, yeah, he's a glass cannon, dude. like I got an audience. Let's click this thing. Right to clear. Oh, come on, dude. Seriously? Alright, that's it. You know what? I'm not even gonna bother clearing the other side. Like, I think they've had enough abuse. Alright. Here's what I gotta say. I mean, come on now. You gotta be at least impressed that just by the volume of the spread, you know, of that control that he can just unfreaking load. I mean, you can't argue with that. It's out of control. I'll say that's more of an out of control controller. He is just unloading those cones so freaking deep. I don't know what I'm going to do because on those 801s, you got to be careful. And I'm going to be aggroing like a freaking monster. I can tell. That's going to be hilarious. I don't know if I warned them or not. But anyway, it'll be funny. So, yeah. Gobs of control. You got the layering for sure. The spread, the range, the coverage is outrageous. It's pretty strong control, too. I mean, stun, fear, sleep. I mean, you're holding things down in place. You just got to watch out because you don't want to prematurely hold it in place because then, you know, you're going to get ranged aggro and you just can't survive that. Plus, you want your tank to be able to bring stuff in. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to do this 801 now. He definitely has some firepower, that's for sure, which is exactly what I wanted. So when when you look at empathy, a lot of people like build it like it's some sissy and you just go around and follow your team and constantly just buffing them the whole time and you don't ever look at your other attacks or controls. I didn't want to build these empaths at all that way. So neither this guy nor my defenders built as some, buff bot heal bitch that's following you around, just trying to keep everybody alive. He's going to throw some buffs. He's got some heals to react to damage, but then he's going to be just downrange unloading on people. It's going to be great. All right, guys. There you go. That is Frisson Sensate. His build and his solo test. We'll catch you in the 801s, and then I'm also going to fire up the build and the solo run for his competitor, my defender there. Ankh. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.